Hello guys, today we're going to be taking a look at a scenario where civilization starts over. This is episode 14, and in the last video, I'm just going to cut to the chase. Well, actually I'm going to show something first. A bunch of new small nations are created in, like, the Gulf of Arabia and, like, the Arabian Sea and all that. But to cut to the chase, we saw that this country right here was invaded by both alliances, being the Triangle and the Diamond Alliance. So this is going to start the first Crusades. I'm going to call it the Crusades because if we look at the religion layer here in a second, right here, it's basically the Lime team, the Lime religion against the Red religion, and it includes like offshoots. The Red religion has 2, the Lime one has 1, really small one as well. But we're going to just go ahead and see what's going to happen. And I've made this alliance layer a little bit easier to look at. I've made it transparent so that you can see through it, so you can see what's actually going on, because these are kind of big for it to be shown this whole time without it being transparent. And I also colored it by team. This is part of the red team. I didn't want it to blend in with its actual color. So we got the red team, the lime team, and the blue team. And here's a quick rundown of what these teams' opinions of this war is going to be. The red team is, this is a Crusades. We want to spread the religion of the red team because we think it's the best. For the lime team, they want to basically make themselves more prevalent. They want to make themselves stronger and all that. And we also, for the blue team, they just want to get more land. They don't really have a reason to join the war besides get rid of the lime team because of the cyan team. And to start off this war, we're going to see a breakaway in the purple team. That's right, this area on the Caspian Sea wants to break away because they're separated by the Caucasus Mountains, and the purple team sending people over here to war, and they're not liking it. So they're going to go ahead and break away. So let's take a look at the borders of what it's going to look like. And this is what it's going to be. It's this like yellowish green color, and it's just going to be right there. It's a new country. Super cool, I guess. We're going to be starting the fighting over in this little breakaway country from the Aragon country. I'll just call it Catalonian country because Aragon country just doesn't sound right. So the first of the fighting is going to be here. They didn't really have a good reason to join this alliance anyway because they're not part of the Lime religion and they're on their own. They're surrounded by Diamond Alliance members. So we're going to go ahead and see the first of the fighting take place from the red team. They're going to do an invasion from the north, and they're going to work their way down to the capital city. They're not going to get to it quite yet, but we're also going to see the Catalonians and the northern Italians. They're also going to start fighting right there. So the northern Italians, they're going to start in the east, and they're actually going to take this major city right here in the east of the country, and the Catalonians are going to take this major city really quickly. It's very easy to capture, and they're going to work their way to cut off the coast, which they do, and this capital is left not very defended. So let's take a look at the partition of it. Well, not partition, but what each country gets from fighting. So this team gets the capital, actually. And then, yeah, hold on. The capital is taken by the Catalonians, and then the northern Italians are going to capture this much, and the rest is going to surrender to the red team. So the partition of what they fought against is going to look like that. And now one front line is over. And since the northern Italians were focusing on this land right here, and probably over here, they left the southern Italian front line undefended, but they're not actually going to be fighting right there. They're going to make a naval landing into Sardinia, taking this major city really quickly, and overall this island's going to fall very quickly, along with Corsica. And at this point they're going to make a naval landing on the main peninsula and working their way to meet up with their mainland, but they don't get to that quite yet. Taking a look over where this whole conflict started in the first place, the northern Italians are going to have an advantage because they put a bunch of troops on this border, a little less on the purple team's border, but a lot on the lime team border, and they're gonna just start their invasion right off the bat, taking a major city and a bunch of coastline. The heck? Hold on, guys. My recording's not pausing. I think it just crashed. It just crashed, right? It's donezo. I apologize about what just happened. My OBS just kind of stopped working and I thought it was going to crash, but it didn't. So if the screen is paused right now, or if it was paused, that's what happened, and just ignore it because I couldn't be bothered to edit that. But anyway, taking a look at the purple team, they're going to have some good traction over in this area of the Dutch team, because taking a look at the religion layer, they already have some of the dark red religion in their country, which means they're okay with the religion in being in their country, so they're going to continue to want more land, even if it's that dark red religion. So a lot of people in the Dutch country are fine with I don't know what you call this, Hungarian country, I guess? No, that's like where Vienna is, so I'll call it the Austrian country, even though it's nowhere near Austria. No, I'll just call it the Hungarian team. But anyway, the Hungarian team is oftentimes met with open arms into this country because they know that they treat their citizens very well. And they're even going to capture this major city. Over in this northern Anatolian country, they're part of the Lime Alliance. They're going to be able to start an invasion of the Right Triangle Alliance and capture a major city of the purple team. However, the same cannot be said over in the west of this country because these two are working on their strategies for how they're going to invade that country. And by the way, the Blue Alliance is only worried about taking out the Anatolian country, the Cyan team. They don't care about these three, or these four, including the Southern Italians. But we are going to continue to see that they're going to invade throughout this purple team. And they're going to make an encirclement of this area, which is going to end up with a lot of these people fleeing to the Southern Anatolian country because they're part of the same alliance, and they're fine with them being there. But they're also going to take this major city, and the purple team's not looking that great yet, or right now, sorry. But we're going to see an insanely surprising attack from a country into the Southern Italian team. They're going to make a naval landing, and I'm just going to go ahead and color 1 pixel of Malta so that you can see that who has the control of it. It was under the Southern Italian team, but if you can see that color, that is the country of Crete. They made a naval landing in Malta, which is a major island in the Mediterranean. They're also going to make a big naval landing in Sicily, cutting it in two and taking over the western half. Yes, they are being funded by the rest of the Right Triangle Alliance members, but most of this they're doing on their own because they have such a high population for such a small island that so many people want to fight and want to get more land out of it. There's only major cities on this map basically, but if there were major towns, there would be a lot in Crete. Taking a look over here in Germany, the Germans are going to retract their military and they're gonna invade back against the Hungarians because they basically weren't ready for it, the Germans, but then they got ready, militarized, and they started their re-invasion of their country, the liberation. Considering how bad my English is, I wish I can say it's not my first language, but it kind of is. But anyway, the Dutch team is going to do their invasion of the Hungarians, and they're going to get very close to the capital. Now, this capital is not their largest city. Their largest city is over here. It's this one. But this is where their second most populated city is, so it's being threatened to be captured by the Germans, and they are starting an encirclement basically, and the Hungarians are not liking this whatsoever. But anyway, taking a look over at the red French Empire, they are going to be like, we're not really fighting that much, we're just giving money to people, so why don't we start fighting again? And they're going to go ahead and invade this country that's not even on a side, and they're going to completely destroy it. It's going to be captured very quickly. And since they were not part of the Crusades, they're going to have a separate peace treaty, which is right now, and they're going to be fully annexed, which is kind of a douche move for the red team. But the Catalonian team is looking at the red team like, what are you doing? You need to focus on the Crusades, not a separate war to make your country bigger. The northern Italians are going to completely kick out this naval landing of the southern Italian team in their mainland because they want to focus on the Crete expansion. But it's too late because the whole of Sicily has been captured, which is really not good. Both of these teams have really good navies. Probably they have the top two navies in the world. Now, the southern Italians have a little better navy because Crete is so small and new, but they still have a really, really good navy. And the southern Italians are a little bit frightened, but because that the whole of Sicily has been captured, they're going to fortify this southern Naples region. I don't know what this would be called, but they fortify this area so that a naval landing is not made, and they're going to continue to focus on northern Italy, which, as we can see here, they're going to continue their invasion. Instead of making a naval landing, they're just going to straight up invade it, taking over 2 major cities and taking a lot of land. And now that these two have completed their plans of what they want to do when it comes to war with this Anatolian team, basically the blue team is going to make a naval landing right here, which they're going to do successfully, and they're going to work on cutting this area off so that they're not connected, and it's going to actually go successfully, and they're going to make sure that they can get all this, and it kind of just falls easily because this area was taken by the Anatolians from a different country that no longer exists, and they aren't really stable over in the European part of their country. And they're also going to just make it a little bit easier for them to access this land by invading over in here, taking another major city, and we're going to see a bit of something that's a little surprising, as this whole area is going to fall and just let this country take them over. Now the Anatolian country is going to say, hey, this Romanian country, you need to help fight with me. But they're like, we don't want anything to do with you, and we don't want to fight you. And they're kind of thinking the same idea, so they're just not going to fight the blue team. But anyway, over in this Georgian, I don't know what you call this country. Anyway, they're going to fight back in the north against this invasion, which goes pretty successfully. They're also going to start their invasion of the coastal areas, because all they really care about is the coast, which is going pretty successfully, actually. They're going to actually take this major city back in, like, the middle. And then, finally, the Anatolians are going to give back this land, and they're going to work on defense instead of offense, which is going to go successfully at first with a stalemate between all of these guys. They're not going to push any of them back, though, so we'll come back to this. Taking a look at the Dutch team, they're going to fully kick out the Hungarians, and they're actually going to encircle the capital, which is going to actually get captured pretty quickly. Now this city is on major defense. Sorry, offense. No, defense. What am I talking about? And at this point, it's safe to say that this Hungarian team is getting steamrolled. They're going to get absolutely taken over pretty quickly by the Dutch team. Because this area, anyway, is dark red religion. The Northern Italians are going to continue their fight against the Lime team. They're not going to focus on the Hungarians because the Germans really have it covered for the most part. But yeah, it's going to be a nice little fight. They're going to get towards the capital and try to encircle it. But this doesn't go very well because it gets cut off and these troops get encircled themselves and they have to flee back to this Croatian area. The Southern Anatolian team is going to go after the Northern one. They're actually going to stop this stalemate against the Cyan team, and it's going to go pretty well. They can't really capture much over in the east, but in the west and south, it's going pretty well. They're actually going to capture that major city as well as this one that they captured earlier. But we're going to also see that the blue team is going to work on getting towards the capital, which is going pretty well. They're just going to expand their front line, capturing multiple major cities and actually encircling the capital, which will fall. I'll just call it the purple team because I don't know what I would call this. Georgian? That doesn't sound like a good word. So, they're going to take this land, and the rest of it is going to be surrendering to this team. And you know the little agreement that the Romanians and the blue team had, that they wouldn't fight? It's been broken, and they're going to just start going straight through the country, which is very easy because they had no troops on this border because of the agreement that they had. So much of it is going to be captured. However, this Macedonian city right there is not going to get captured. They're going to be able to hold off from it getting completely cut out. Now that what? Anyway, the Northern Italians are going to fight back against the Southern Italians, pushing them back to their border, and they're also going to take back these two islands pretty easily. And as I said, this area is heavily fortified, but this city isn't. So it's going to be captured by the Crete team. And they're just going to push up through this peninsula and head towards the capital. They're also going to cut this area off. And they're going to work on encircling these guys, and they're going to get crushed. They're going to fall. We're just going to go ahead and see something real quick. That is going to look something like this. the Southern Italians are officially out. And now that the Southern Italians are out and this Crete country doesn't have to worry about this front line because they're not friends, but they're definitely not going to fight because they used to be in the same alliance, but they only got kicked out because of religious reasons. But anyway, they're going to send forces up through the Aegean Sea, and they're just going to take this city. They're going to help out the blue team a ton and just work on taking a lot of land. They're going to take this whole area back. And they're just going to go ahead and give this area to the blue team. I'm not necessarily going to show it, but this team, they're going to say, we're out of the war, we're done, we're not going to fight anymore unless it comes to have to fight. We're not going to fight anymore. And this does not go proper because the Northern Italian team is like, you're going to fight us. You're doing horrible. Your team is doing horrible. You're going to fight us once we get to your border. And as we can see here, the capital of the Lime team is going to fall. That is basically the sacred ground of the Lime religion. And this is going to be a big blow for the whole Lime religion and the whole Lime team as a whole. It's just going to kind of fall very quickly. It's going to go, oh no, what's happening? Oh no. So yeah, that happened. Because it did. They're going to also start their invasion of this team, which is going to go horrible because they thought they were done with the war. They thought what the Northern Italians were saying was just threats and not actually going to happen. That didn't necessarily come true to what they thought because they're getting invaded. It's not great, but they're going to stop there. The Hungarians are also going to get invaded by the Northern Italians, which they didn't think was going to happen because they haven't previously. They were focusing on the Lime team. And that's why they could take the Lime team out. So they're going to work on this. They're going to spearhead and take the most populated city in the country, and it's going to surrender. Now let's take a look at a peace treaty for the Crusades. Here we have the map before the Crusades, and I'm just going to change things as we go. So, starting off, this team did no fighting whatsoever. All they did was give money. So they're going to get this much land, and they're going to leave the Diamond Alliance. The Northern Italians are only going to get this much. They're going to get money from the red team, though, because let's take a look at the rest of this. The Catalonians are going to get this much, including the capital, but they think they should have got more, so they're a little bit upset about this, because the red team's going to get all of this land all the way down to the Mediterranean Sea, so that they can get coastal access. Now this border is really ugly, but they don't care. As long as these two don't invade them, they don't really care. However, because of this peace treaty with this team that no longer exists, the Catalonians are also going to pull out of the alliance that they were in with the red team. Over in the Southern Italian team, we're going to see that the Crete team is going to go ahead and get this land, which is great for their population, because this was a little bit overcrowded. They needed more land, so this area is not very populated, so they're going to go ahead and make a lot more people move here, and they're going to pay people to move there so that it helps their nation overall. And they also get these two major cities. I'm going to change one thing, though. I'm going to give them this more land, just so people can move there, because they need more land. To be fair, Sicily is just a big rock, but so is Crete. They just about doubled or tripled their land anyway. But anyway, this is going to be given to the northern Italians. It's just a little chunk of land with one major city. By the way, going back to Sicily, the reason why the southern Italians still have this area is because trade can go here. In the Lime team, the northern Italians are going to get this much, and we're going to see that there's this first microstate over here, and this is just going to be this shared city between these three countries, and it's just going to be like a little microstate. The original government is going to be allowed to exist in this coastal country, but we're going to see a new country over here and the majority of the rest of the country that's not that populated, and it's just like a new government set like basically the same as the northern Italian team. So taking a look at the religion layer, this is part of the dark red religion, and this is what is going to be given over to the Dutch team, which is not a whole lot of land, but it's plenty enough for them. Hold on. It's plenty enough for them. I'm going to give them one more province because this looks a little bit bad. Over in this Romanian team, we're going to see this new Balkan country existing. This is like a gray team. I don't really like that. That looks a little bit better. There we go. So yeah. I forgot to pause it. Oops. It's basically the same government as this blue team, but a little bit bigger and more populated. And that's all that's actually going to happen to this Romanian team, because they didn't really do much in the war. In the purple team, the Hungarian team, we're going to see that there's this new light blue team, and there's also this light yellow team. It's like pale. And the rest of Hungary is going to be just left alone. It's going to have the same government as it did. I'm coming back to Sicily because I realize how bad this border is, so I'm just going to give Crete this much land. Alright, taking a look at the northern Anatolian country. First off, in the European region, even though Crete did not invade this area, they invaded this city instead of this city. It makes more sense on the map to give this land to Crete. And they decided to do this just because Crete wants to create an empire all around the Mediterranean. They have 3 areas as of right now. But anyway, what's going to the blue team is the European part. This part over here, this is like one county. And then this, because for some reason it's separate. And in the Anatolian part, they're going to get this land.